China researchers introduced a new style conception for a hypersound plane, that they say is a big move to one-day flyer of Beijing to New York in several hours. That would no question be a speedier and maybe more than easy stock option rather than the present 14 several hours. Study in hypersound flying himself is anything brand new, but it normally focuses on war applications wherever down there is more than cash for study and less than blood pressure to break down though. So will air transportation 5 times the rate of audio always do business feeling, and conduct passengers into several hours through the silent? While it comes to measurement plane departure very quick, the standard utilized is the rate of audio or stroke 1, about 1/235 km/h, 767 mph. Hypersound is which the China study is focus on, in a crew at the China Academia of Sciences looking at one of the two big challenges, the aerodynamic, and the motor, that is lot stronger to resolve. In regulation of style, hypersound flying requires how can minimize pull, how is the impedance to movement of the airborne, the more rapid the plane, the more than pull becomes in question. It goes about as speed in a square, if you dual speed, you quad the pull, explains Prof. Nicholas Hutchins of the College of Melbourne. Which's new on the style offered and proven in China is a other stratum of Inspire assigned over the normal Inspire, in procedure to bring pull, he's a slight such to a biplane. At the time the developers include just proven a scale downward pattern in a breeze tube. So the draft is yet far of, rather virtually, take away. Though if a style manages to cut downward on pull, down there are yet some challenges how stay. Warmth impedance is for copy. But later down there's as well the not insignificant question of the sound boomers. If a aircraft crushed the rate of audio, it generates shock waves. In easy regulation how's a very noisy explosion. So noisy it can crush window. The motor is the more than cunning bit while it comes to receive a next hypersound plane on board. One day a car has achieved stroke 5, it can be automotive by a as-called scramjet motor, an airborne breathing jet motor how sucks in air and uses how to burn up its gas. Yet, and he's a big yet, the kind of motor just planned of stroke 5 ahead, so it requires else jet motor to get the plane departure the quick in the at first location. How could be an very strong, conventional jet motor but ultimately several conjunction of the two would be necessary, say expert. Down there's been a main program departure on in China above the recent pair of year to mainly style how motor, explains Prof. Michael Clever, armchair of hypersound traction at the College of Queensland. How's which would be the actual breakout towards of engineering woo and probable milestone moments. The issue is of year if down there's always departure to be a business marketplace for hypersound air transportation. Rob a fast slide at Concorde and you might include yours doubts. The ultrasonic Anglo-French jet was vaunted as the next of air journey while it at first flew in 1969, but few were always constructed, and it was ultimately axed in 2003 in no mark of a air. For one item, the air transportation were too costly for largest nomadic people. And recall the sound boomers? So how intended Concorde was just permitted to fly more rapid rather than audio one day above the sea. The confined means of communication to trips through the Atlantic, and therefore wound its business vitality. Challenges would be though greater in hypersound air transportation. They'd be though more than costly and as well reason a sound boomers. The study document published in the February publication of Physical Science, Mechanical and Astronomy bravely assumes how in the next, hypersound air transportation will be more than easy and effective rather than receive on executive board a usual aircraft. But it is at low 15 to 20 year up any such a plans could be commercially sustainable, says Ellis Taylor of Flying World. He's difficult to see a marketplace for the at the time, he says. Historic in reality, airfares include bin departure downward quite rather than up and it would be difficult to get a broad clientele for a hypersound flying. It would be a really alcove item, and how of year considerably upsets the economy of a business facility. On to China print accountable, the scientists over the study are as well implicated in Beijing's war projects about hypersound rate, and it is defense how put at the cardiac of hypersound vanity. Believe of antenna observation for copy how could be developed really rapidly, and would be difficult to halt. Or maybe hypersound rocket technology how could provide current defense system worthless. The big players on how phase are the US, China and to several degree as well Russia. Unsurprisingly, war study is a lot more than reticent and he's difficult to say who has the end. Historic, the US has ever been in the conduct, but China is contagious up really rapidly, says Professor Clever. So the plans for a business hypersound reactive, though if they are at the previous stages, are a brave token outgoing slight question above China's vanity.